Hello, everyone. In this session, we want to talk about backing up Active Directory database and sysvol. When we install Active Directory domain services and promote the server to a domain controller, the Active Directory database called ntds.dit gets stored in the database folder in the Windows directory. Along with that, the log files and the sysvol folder get stored in the Windows directory. Remember that the sysvol folder is the folder that will contain all the group policies that we want replicated to other domain controllers within the domain. Now, maintaining the Active Directory database is a very important administrative task that you must schedule regularly to ensure that in case of a disaster, you are able to recover your Active Directory database or repair that database. The Active Directory database, as you can see here, is stored as a file, and as I said, it is called ntds.dit. And during installation, what you see here is the default location, but you can specify the location of the file if you like. The database has all of the Active Directory objects on the domain controller, all the users, the computers, the groups, everything that you will create in Active Directory is stored in that database. You can back up the Active Directory database using Windows Server Backup, using the command line wbadmin.exe or PowerShell commandlets. You might see a question in exam asking you, how do you back up the system state data? The system state data on a domain controller involves the following components depending on what you have installed. And the system state data is usually backed up by any one of the tools here, Windows Server Backup, WP Admin, or PowerShell. Some of the components that you will find within the system state data would be the same Active Directory database, the sysvol folder, the registry, the system startup files, class registration database, Active Directory certificate services, cluster service information, IIS, system files under Windows Resource Protection, or other components depending on what you have installed. Next, we're going to install the system state data using Windows Server Backup. The sysvol folder will also be included in that system state backup. To begin Windows Server Backup, we're going to go to Tools, Windows Server Backup. And we're going to see here that even though we can see Windows Server Backup, we will still need to install the feature. Let's take a look. We're going to click on Windows Server Backup. We will see here that Windows Server Backup is not installed on this computer. And to install Windows Server Backup, you will have to install the Windows Server Backup feature. So remember that. Even though when you click on Tools, you can see Windows Server Backup. If you have never installed that feature, you're not going to be able to use Windows Server Backup. So we're going to close the console. And we're going to go into Manage, Add Roles and Features. Click on Next. For the installation type, we click on Next. The destination server screen, we click on Next. And at the roles page, remember that we're doing a feature, we're installing the feature. So we have to click on Next to get to the feature page. And then we can look for Windows Server Backup. So let's scroll down. Here we go, Windows Server Backup. So we're going to click on Windows Server Backup. Click on Next. And we click on Install to install the feature. When the feature has been successfully installed, as you can see here, then you can close the console window for the installation. And now we can go to Windows Server Backup. So we want to click on Tools, Windows Server Backup. We want to click on Local Backup. Then to the right-hand pane, under Actions, we want to click on Backup Once. Notice it says here, no backup has been configured for this computer. Use the Backup Schedule wizard or the Backup Once wizard. For our purposes, we are going to do the Backup Once wizard. So we click on Backup Once, and you have a choice here. You have different options and schedule backup options. Now, if you have created a schedule backup and you want to use the same settings for this backup, you would click on the first one. For our purposes for this session, we're going to use different options because we have not created a schedule backup. So we're going to accept different options and click on Next. And we want to do a custom backup. We don't want to back up all our server data, application, and system data. We only want to back up the system state data. So we're going to click on Custom, select Next, and we want to click on Add Items here. Here we see the system state. Remember that the system state will have in the sysvol data. So we click on System State and OK. At this point, we want to look at the advanced settings. Before we move on, we want to go to the VSS settings, the volume shadow copying settings. So we click on VSS settings. The one that we want is VSS full backup. So we're going to select VSS full backup. And then we're going to click on OK. You might be asking yourself, what does this feature do? This option updates the backup history of each file and clears the application log file. And you want to use this option if you are not using any other product to backup applications. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK. And yes, we want the system state data, so we're going to click here on system state data because that's what we want to back up. Select the items that you want to back up, and then we want to click on Next. We're going to be backing up using the local disk, but you have an option that you can also back up on a remote shared folder on a server. For our example, we're going to be using the local drive, so we want to click on Next. And our destination is volume E, so we're going to accept that. Next. And we want to click on backup. So we have chosen the backup destination. We're doing a VSS full backup. So we want then to click on backup. And once that backup is completed, then we can click on close. And we can see here that we had a successful backup. Status completed. We click on close. And we see that we have the backup here, the time it was done, and that it was successful. Remember that we can also use the WB admin exe command line to backup system state data. And there are also some PowerShell commandlets that we can use to back up system state data. This is the end of our session on backing up system state data and sysvol. I want to thank you for listening.